Good morning, everyone. This morning we are going to demonstrate how to make plain macaroon with a dark chocolate ganache. So macaroon are in fashion at the moment. There are lots of places that are making them. And are they difficult? When you follow a good recipe and a good method, you know, the macaroon are quite easy to achieve, really. So I'm going to go through the ingredients first. So it's only 4 ingredients. You need 180 grams of egg white. You need 140 grams of caster sugar. You need 230 grams of icing sugar. And you need 210 grams of ground almond. You can add a tiny bit of flavoring as well, such as vanilla essence. So equipment-wise, you will need a Thermomix or something like a RoboCoupe, or something that you will have at home, you know, a blender or something like that. That's very, very important because you need to put your icing sugar and your almond in there to achieve a fine, very fine crumb. Yeah, you will need a tammy. If you haven't got that at home, and I doubt very much of you will have, you can use a small sieve. That will do the job. So you will need a large bowl to mix all your ingredients together. You will need a couple of maurices. You need a couple of trays with seal mat. So again, if you haven't got that, grease proof will do the job nicely. Yeah. You need a couple of plain nozzle, a couple of piping bags, and you are going to need a mixer as well. You can do that by hand if you want as well. So first of all, you need to put your ground almond and your icing sugar together in your blender, and you want to achieve a nice little crumb. So you do that very, very quickly. You don't want to overdo it. If you overdo it, you are going to get a paste. So 30 seconds. So now we have achieved the consistency we wanted. We are going to push that through our tammy, yes, or as I said earlier, if you haven't got that at home, you are going to use a small sieve, okay? So that's quite important, and the reason you do that, it's a macaroon should have a smooth surface on the top. If you are not doing that, you are going to probably have a rough texture on the top, with the almond being quite, you know, big, really. So now what I do here, I just push all that mixture through the tammy, and as you can see, the fact that I've got a large surface makes it quite easy and achievable. So you do that, and you ensure that anything that is quite rough like this here doesn't go in that paste. Okay? So after sieving the mixture of icing sugar and ground almond, you should have a powder just like that, very, very refined, fine powder, just very, very thin. So I'm going to leave that here for a bit while I'm doing my meringue. So I've started to foam the egg white. So I start on a low speed first, and then I'm going to incorporate a tiny bit of the sugar at a time. And I want to achieve a nice, what we call a French meringue, yeah? So a nice and firm meringue before we add that to the icing sugar and the flour. The rule here, if you add any flavoring or any color, that needs to be added when the meringue is ready. So today we are not going to use that, but if you are wishing to make, for example, a passion fruit macaroon, you can use some flavoring and a tiny bit of yellow food coloring, and that will go into your meringue. Here you are, guys. We have achieved our meringue. As you can see, it's holding really well in a whisk, so that's ready to go for the next stage. So now the next stage is to fold the icing sugar and almond into the egg white, but I don't want to do that all at once, so I'm going to incorporate a third first. Okay, so you have now the egg white have absorbed the icing sugar and the almond. I'm going to put another third, so I'm going to do that in 3. So same again, figure of 8. So I've transferred my mixture into the piping bag. As you can see, I've got a plain nozzle. So now I'm going to pipe my macaroon onto the tray, and I'm going to make sure that they are well spaced, as they will expand a tiny bit. So once they've been piped, what you need to do is just tap them a couple of times. So we had a very next student and very good friend, Alan Strong, that used to do the macaroon in town, and he was swearing that after 5-6 years of making them, 6 or 7 times like that would be more than enough. So after tapping them 6 to 8 times, you bring the macaroon. Here at college we are very lucky. We've got our lamp here, and that's going to dry the top of the macaroon very quickly. Remember, you are looking for a crispy outside, and by drying them like that, that's how you are going to create your shell. And if you haven't got those light guys, you can leave them outside at room temperature. The only thing, it's going to take longer, that's all.